Hello, everybody. Ross Skorzewski here in the studio in Green Bay, live at the Wellness Way headquarters. And it is time for another session episode or edition of Wednesday Morning Cup of Crazy with me, Ross Allen Skorzewski. Once again, excited to be able to spend the next 5 to 10 minutes with you talking about random thoughts that come from my cranium to you in regards to personal growth and development. And I'm excited to be able to do that with you once again. Thank you for continuing to dive into these episodes with me. Thank you for your comments. If you would think that continually as we do these, that there are people in your world that would benefit from these quick hits, why don't you do me a favor, just share it with them in the hopes that it would inspire them, hopefully as it inspires you as well. So real quick, let's do what I love to do in every episode. Let's grab our coffee and let's do a quick cleansing sip. This morning we here are partaking of Cameron's Organic Coffee, and it is a beautiful thing. So shall we partake? Yes, we shall. Oh, so good. It's a little pick-me-up. I love it. It's really good. Coffee black here, nothing else in it right at the moment, but if I were to, it would be a nitro or a cold brew with a little bit of coconut milk and a splash of peppermint. Squirrel, random thought, but maybe you'd like it as well. All right, what are we talking about today? As you saw in the reminder, I put in there, processing the sting of disappointment. I've been talking to quite a few people over the last week since our last episode where we talked about there is no try, only do. And within a lot of my conversations, to varying degrees of coaching or even just making calls to a lot of the docs, we all have this desire to constantly better ourselves, to make sure that we don't repeat patterns of dysfunction that lead us up to experiencing, failure or letdown. And in the midst of that, really what I've been kind of experiencing is seeing people who, make bad decisions or make a mistake or for some odd reason don't follow through, and they either are disappointing someone or they themselves are highly disappointed in themselves. And in this process, I began to think to myself in talking to them, what is the approach that most people have when trying to process the sting of disappointment in their life? And really what it comes down to really first and foremost for me when I'm talking to other people is, number one, are you dealing with the disappointment that you've created for somebody else because of your failure to follow through, your failure to execute a job task, or to your failure to commit? Or is it a failure that you're feeling personally because you dropped the ball, you let yourself down, or you're just disappointed in a decision that you made and that you thought you would never do it ever again, but then life just caught you off guard, a circumstance presented itself, and you found yourself at a place where within a snap second of a decision, you did something, and now you're living with regret and disappointment in yourself. But here, let's just take a quick peek. I do this every time, and we'll do it because I've got some just quick random thoughts about how we really begin to put into motion the process of dealing with the sting of disappointment. Okay, so number one, what is disappointment? It's sadness or displeasure caused by the non-fulfillment of one's hopes or expectations. I like this. Well, to her disappointment, there was no chance to talk privately with Luke. The disappointment. I'm okay. First of all, I think we've created a very unfortunate element of our society today where we don't want to disappoint people, or we don't want people to feel disappointed because we want to be liked. We don't want to offend anybody. We don't want to hurt their feelings. And so therefore, what we've done is we've created this really weird kind of social paradigm where we're always on eggs and shells around everybody else because we're afraid of what we're going to say. We don't want people to feel bad. We don't want them to be disappointed. And you know what, to be honest with you, I'm okay with people feeling a little personal disappointment once in a while when they have failed to fulfill an expectation or a hope or a desire that they put out there, or someone that expects from them. I'm okay with people feeling disappointed. And I'm okay with being the person that also lets somebody else know that I'm disappointed with them. What is it with us today not being willing to step out and to call somebody out on their actions, to call somebody out on their failure to execute, to call somebody out on their failure to be what it is that they said that they would be in our lives? What is it with this that we've created that we don't want people to feel bad for their actions? Especially if they are negative, especially if they don't bring about life and it brings about death. Why have we done this? There's no way that we can continue that pattern and expect people to get it and expect people to overcome and to change and to become better people. If we don't become that mouthpiece that challenges people, or if we don't receive that challenge from people when they are pointing out things that we have not followed through in our own lives, when our people are disappointed, if we can't receive that, then there really is no hope for true change. So yes, it is. It's sadness or displeasure caused by the non-fulfillment of one's hopes or expectations. Why am I okay with disappointment? For you parents out there, let me ask you this. If your children step out of line, they do it once, twice, or 3 times, and you have to reprimand them, and there's a course of correction. And I love this. Even in our discussion just the other day here at the Wellness Way, Dr. Patrick Flynn took us through an amazing personal growth and development session, our Rise and Grinds, and he had this really important section where he was talking about correction. You know, we all need to be able to receive correction. And within receiving correction, sure, there is disappointment because it's in that correction that we recognize that we failed to possibly measure up to the expectation that was placed onto us. But in the embracing of that feeling and that emotion and that disappointment, it should lead us towards correction, which is direction to make things better. And I love that he said that, you know, correction really is nothing more than giving people direction to make things better, to get out of that quagmire that you've been in. So number one, I want us to be okay with this. Like I said, 5 to 10 minutes, nothing more, nothing less. This isn't going to be super exhaustive. And to be honest with you, I might hit it again next week. But disappointment, we must be okay with feeling disappointment. Being able to give it to somebody else, but also receiving it. I think one of the hardest hurdles, though, and one of the hardest things to overcome is when we are dealing with personal disappointment. Because for myself, when I do something and I choose stupid and I choose a course of action that leads to, dysfunction, I'm more apt to spend way too much emotional time investing into that decision and going into a pity party, wallowing in my own, woe is me, I'm so disappointed in myself, and I drag it out, and it goes on for hours, if not days, and I beat myself up. Now that, I would say, is not a healthy perspective in dealing with the sting of disappointment. You know, I was reading and in preparing for this today, and I came across this one thing, and I think this is wonderful because, you know, really, what is the process? What is the time frame? How quick should we be able to get the disappointment, and how quick should we be able to move on from the emotional sting of that, which to some people, disappointment when we're dealing with it, and we are processing what it is that we did and how we've let somebody else down. We sometimes can make that process into something so much more than what it needs to be. And I read this and I want to share this with you real quick because this was amazing. All right, listen to this. It says, children will tantrum and cry and scream or laugh until it runs out, and they genuinely get themselves to a place where they really are ready to move on. I love that. Why? Because children, for the most part, really, they have such an elementary understanding of right and wrong and how to process that negative emotion of disappointment. Sure, maybe they get a spanking, or they get hit with a ruler or a wooden spoon, whatever your choice of correction is, or they get a stern talking to, they get an iPad removed, or they have this taken away. But really, when we look at children, when they get reprimanded and there is disappointment that is experienced, they don't know how to really hold on to that and hang on to it for long periods of time. Yeah, they throw themselves into a quick fit. They get emotionally invested in that moment because they don't like what it is that they're feeling, and they kick and scream. But when they're done, it's like nothing ever happened, and they move on. And the same thing needs to happen with us as adults, but the problem is what we do is we rehearse the negativity. We rehearse the emotion. We rehearse the decision, and how dare did I allow myself to get to that place where I did such a stupid thing, or how dare so-and-so did this to me, how dare so-and-so, allow that to happen. And we just replay, and we hold on to the negativity, and that emotion keeps us in a pattern where, unfortunately, we're not able to move on and get back to business as usual. I think processing the sting of disappointment really, and even for myself, has been probably one of the hardest hurdles and obstacles for me to overcome because, yeah, sometimes Ross knows how to disappoint really well, right? And I just need to move on and not be so quick to disappoint. But I've also been able to really get myself to a place where I don't sit and fester. I don't sit and wallow in a pity party and beat myself up. And this is honestly within the last 1.5 to 2 years. I want to encourage you, really, in this idea of processing the sting of disappointment, whether you are the one who's been disappointed or you are bringing disappointment to somebody else, they're two totally separate sets of emotions. Because a lot of times when we go and somebody else is, we're bringing disappointment, we're letting them know how they've disappointed us or they've disappointed us by their actions or something that they've done or they're breaking a commitment to us. If we don't process that emotion properly, first of all, you have to allow yourself to actually go through the emotion. Most people either try to not feel disappointed or not bring disappointment across other people's paths because they don't like how it feels, so they just try to mask it. They try to sweep it under the rug and not deal with it at all. That's not healthy because it's going to rear its ugly head at some point in time anyways. Or some people get disappointed or they're disappointed in themselves and they don't go through the proper steps of healing and getting through the disappointment to the point where they can process, get perspective, take a step back, take responsibility for what is theirs, let it go, and move on. Most people try to hurry that process up. Oh, if we can just get it over, and hurry. I want to get out of this. I don't like how I feel. I don't like how this feels. I don't like how this feels. I know, but sometimes the feeling that you're feeling in the very beginning is the very thing that's going to cause you to put into motion a proper perspective, taking responsibility and ownership and putting a plan into motion to make sure that that process never happens again so you don't have to deal with the same element of disappointment all over again. That's insanity, right? That's what we say, doing the same thing over and over and over while expecting to get a different result. I love this. This stuff, is what we're really looking at here when it comes to us processing the sting of disappointment is, number one, realizing this. This is a lifelong challenge. Every day, you, myself, the world around us, we are going to be dealing with elements of disappointment. But how are you going to process it? Are you going to hold on to it, harbor it, especially if it's dealing with other people, and allow that to fester on the inside of you, turning into a grudge, turning into now a platform of disconnect instead of being able to do life with them? And now you're going to hold it against them, hold a grudge, and lead towards disconnect. Maybe sometimes there is a necessary ending that needs to take place. And so your disappointment can lead you to a place of letting go. But for the most part, most of the people that are in our lives that disappoint us are people that we love, people that we care about, people that we do life with every day. So we need to learn how to, let people know they've disappointed us, but then also give them a chance to make it right. And then to move on and let go of that emotional attachment and give people a chance to win with you again. But also at the same time with yourself. If you're disappointed in yourself for something that you've said you've done or that you continue to see a repeat pattern in your life, be quick. Yes, embrace the emotion for sure. Take notice of it. Give you a chance to work through that emotion, but then take a step back. Process, get a different perspective, look at what just took place that led to that disappointment, and give yourself a healthy perspective to be able to take responsibility, to own it, not to continue to beat yourself up and say, whoa, I'm such a horrible person. I can't believe I did that. I'm so disappointed in myself. Because that doesn't bring about anything other than just you wallowing. And sure, it feels good for a moment because you're beating yourself up, but it doesn't accomplish jack squat. Take ownership, get perspective, step back, make a commitment to not do it again or say it again or whatever it is, and move on. Move on. That song, Let It Go, Let It Go. Get back to that place, not where you're going to be like a child and all of a sudden in the middle of your workplace environment or in the home that you're going to automatically throw yourselves on the floor, kicking and screaming and throwing a tantrum, but then moving on. But get to that place where you can literally, obviously, go through the proper emotions, the proper steps, take ownership, take responsibility, put a plan into action, not to repeat stupid, and move on and cut yourself some slack while cutting other people some slack in your life as well so that they can win with you. But at the end of the day, really, you've got to be able to win with yourself. processing the sting of disappointment. I'm okay with it. Go ahead. If you're disappointed in yourself, good. Get disappointed to the point where you're not going to repeat stupid again and get to the place of disappointment. But recognize this. You will be disappointed. I will be disappointed. I will disappoint. I promise you that. And you will disappoint people. This is a lifelong journey, but processing and learning how to really work through these stages of disappointment are a healthy thing. And if you have questions and you want to know how to really do so and you find yourself caught off guard, go to Google, type in dealing with perspective. We have so much information and knowledge that can give you some quick steps to really just dive into something if you really want a bigger perspective. But hey, just a little bit of a Wednesday morning cup of crazy with me, processing the sting of disappointment. Be quick to let yourself off the hook. Don't beat yourself up. Don't sit there and stew for days. And don't do that to others. You know, if people really do disappoint you and they want to make things right with you, give them that right and the ability to do so. Everybody, to a degree, wants to win with the people that they care about most in their life. And for the most part, those people want to win with us. Disappointment, I'm cool with it, but just don't stay there. Don't punish people. Don't punish yourself. Take ownership, take a chill pill, get a little perspective, and move on and better yourself. We'll see you next Wednesday.